Hey guys, I'm Merrill. I'm glad you could join us on yet another Arty Wednesday. Today, we're gonna paint with our fingers. It's gonna be a little messy, but a whole lot of fun. Let's go. This is what we will be making today. A beautiful peacock. It is one of my favorite birds. And these are the art supplies you will need to create this bird. In case you are wondering about the colors that I used these 4 shades of poster colors for this particular artwork. So to begin, we're going to set up our A4 size paper, and I don't know if you noticed, but I tried to draw the bird with the pencil, but what happens and what I've noticed, when I use a pencil it doesn't really show in the video. So I'm going to use this pen, and it has this fine nib. It's called a Pilot pen. I'm going to use this pen to outline the bird so you can all see it in the video. So it's very simple. I just want like an oval drawing of the bird. I'm going to start somewhere here. It almost looks like those water balloons. Yeah, it sort of looks like a longish water balloon, but then it starts to look like a bird or a brinjal. That's a better example. And this is its head and the beak. Yep. I'm going to give it an eye and a slight sort of, I'm going to call it its crown. And not to forget the feet, just like chicken feet when you're drawing, if you've drawn chicks before. So that's it. That's all I'm gonna do. Now I'm gonna grab my paints. So you know the paints I've used for the first spot. Oh, before we go ahead, don't forget that when you're painting and using paints, it's always good to keep a washcloth or a rag handy so that you can wipe your hands, or even wet wipes work. They come in handy. So I'm going to use the rag, and I'm going to start with my bottle green, I call it, but in poster colors it's called poster green, and then there's a number. So I've pre-mixed them in a palette, and I'm going to start with the green. And for the green I'm going to use my thumb. My hands are quite dirty because I've been working with paints, and I said just wash my hand once and for all after I'm done. I'm going to start with my thumb. I'm going to take and don't put too much water in the poster colors when you're mixing it. It's very different from your other paints where you would actually the other painting you would do with poster colors where you would add water. In this one we want it fairly thick. Okay, so let's start. And I've painted quite a bit of my thumb. I don't know if you can see that. Yes, quite a bit of it, because I want the first spot to be quite fat compared to the next one that's going to go on. So let's begin. Spread it out nicely. Let's give it a nice spread. Now for my next line, I want, like if you have 2 of these spots, I want the third spot to be in the middle of it. Like so. Again, I want it in the middle of, like see, it's in the middle of the 2. now we're going to wait for this to dry a bit. So while we're waiting for it to dry, don't forget to clean your hands. Use a washcloth to wipe it dry. And let me just talk to you about the poster colors that I use. This is what I'm using, this Camlin box. It has 20 shades of color and I quite like the colors that it has. It has quite a bit of really beautiful colors. Now I'm not advertising for Camlin. I'm not advertising for them, but you know, this box of colors has really amazing colors, so do check it out. It's helped me in a lot of the artwork. Okay, let me check. How dry is this? Just a little more. So the paint is still slightly wet, but it's dry enough, so I'm going to move on to the next color. And for the next color, I'm going to use my a middle finger, because that's the next largest finger I need for this for the next step. So you see, I've painted it quite a bit. Quite a big section of it. What I want to do is I want to put the next spot on top of this spot, but I want sort of like a crescent shape left behind, so it would look almost like that, like I'm putting the spot, but I'm not putting the spot entirely on top of it. So I want to see quite a bit of that first green color. So be very careful when you're doing this, because you don't want drips all over, and make sure your fan is off. I'm going to use the support of my ring finger just so that I don't mess up the other stuff. And you see, I'm going to make that spot. I don't know if you can see very clearly, but this is how it would look. Like there is that bottle green, but then there's the shade of this next color, and there's a crescent left at the side, so you can see the bottle green quite clearly. That's it. So I'm gonna do all of them in the same way. I'm not going in any particular order, but just be careful when you're doing it, so you don't miss out on any one of them, because then you won't get that same cool effect that we're wanting, where we want to see all these different colors that the peacock has. I really love this bird, but I know many people like different birds, but the peacock is my favorite because of the colors that are on it, the shades of blue and green. I just love how they go together. It is the national bird of our country as well, in case you didn't know that, but I'm sure all of you did know that. There we go. I think I've got all of them. Now again, we're going to wait for it to dry up a bit. So again, it's not completely dry, but it's as dry as I want it to be. So I'm going to move on to the next color, and for the next color I'm going to use this beautiful gold. Now again, when I'm okay, so let me just tell you about which finger I'm going to use. I'm going to use my pointer finger this time, because it's slightly smaller than my middle finger. And again, when I put this shade of color on it, I want quite a bit of this dark green to be seen, because that's the whole point of putting it. So I want the crescent of this chutney green to be seen. So now my finger is going to be slightly lower, and let me just show you. And my I've cleaned my middle finger, so I can take the support of it, and can you see that? Like, so I'm putting the spot, and you can see the gold. It's a lovely gold, but you can also see the chutney green color. Let me show you from close by. Can you see? So you get to see like all three shades very clearly. And go tap. It's okay if it does this, that's fine, because it sort of shows that there's all these shades that this bird has. So don't worry about it, don't stress about it if, you know, it gives like this slight spot. Let me show you. Like that. don't worry about it. It's actually cool if that happens. And let me do all of them in the same way. Even if you like don't, you know, like see, this is very nice. There's probably too much color there. That's fine. There we go, almost done. That's beautiful. Now I'm not going to wait for it to dry completely this time because I want the next color to slightly mix into it. And for the next color I'm going to use that the blue which we're later going to use in the middle of the peacock as well. You know, that same shade. Although I may not use paint for the peacock, I may actually use another brush color or something. So I've cleaned my pointer finger, and now I want to put, like, see, I'm not putting a lot of the paint. I'm just using like a tip of my finger, and I'm gonna go put the blue here so it looks like that, like this kind of effect. Look at that. It's smudgy, it's not absolutely perfect, and it spreads and it gives like a different sort of color. So I know in the video you can't really make out the blue completely, but when you're doing it, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. See how I'm doing it? Like, I'm almost going a little bit at this, like at the side. I'm not really doing like a center spot. Slightly at the side, so it has its own section and it makes the gold look a little smudged and different, and you know, different sort of. So you're getting like a crescent here this way, like a really large crescent, and it's I want the blue to be seen, so if there are places where it cannot be seen much, I'm just gonna sort of spread it a little more. Did I get all of them? Yes, I got all of them. Alright, now time to wait for it to dry again. Okay, so for the next step, I've added a little water into the palette colors that I had. The blue, the same blue that I used before. I'm going to paint the body of the peacock. Now you can do this with crayons as well. My paint is slightly wet, so I'm going to be very careful. But please wait. I think if you're not confident doing this step, please wait for your paint to get completely dry before you do this. I'm going to paint the peacock this nice blue. You see the kind of paint you get because I've added water in it. The entire paint texture sort of changes. Be very careful around the eye. I'm not very light with my hands. I'm a bit heavy handed, so be careful when you're going around the eye, because you don't want the eye to get like another color. I wanted to use like a crayon or something, but it's not, I didn't find the exact shade of blue that I wanted, so I just said, you know what, let me just use the one that I have already kept for this. And I'm not gonna do his beak like a different color. I'm gonna use the exact same color for the beak as well. Okay. There you go. If you have really nice thin brushes, you can do this with thin brushes. I don't have anything, so I'm just gonna improvise with this flat brush that I have. It's too thick for what I'm trying to achieve, but it's not bad. Whoopsie. See, this is what I was afraid of. Little clumsy. That's okay. And I'm gonna do its feet also slightly blue. Have to give him bigger feet. That's okay, it still looks cute. Now what I also want to do is I realize I didn't get the blue that I want in these spots. So just the corners of this now, I'm just gonna give it like a slight line. So it has, so the blue kind of stands out a bit, which I missed on when I did my practice Peacock. What I was trying to achieve really worked, but when I was trying to show you guys, it didn't work as it worked. Well, I won't say it didn't work, but it's not exactly how I envisioned it. And sometimes that can happen, but I think it always happens for a reason. So you can use your mind to do something and create something different. I'll show you the one that I did earlier, and I'll show it to you in comparison to this. You see that? So I get like one more sort of shade, and it gives like an effect around the gold. I'm just twisting my brush a little. It's okay, you can skip this step as well if you'd like. Then don't be too particular. But I just thought, you know, let me just try this out and see if it works. Because I felt like I wanted more of that little blue in the feather. I think I'm quite happy with it now. Yes. Oopsie. See what I did there? Silly. I'm gonna wipe it off. Try and wipe it off a bit. If it doesn't go, it's okay. No problem. So yeah, let me show you the one I did earlier when I was practicing. You see that? The shade looks a bit different. I think this is nice as well. Now again, we're gonna wait for it to dry, and this time we cannot like haphazardly do it again. We have to wait for it to dry completely. That's the only way we're gonna be able to do the next step. So be patient and let it dry completely. Now that it's completely dry, I grab the fine tip pen again, and this is what we're going to do. Gonna attach like each of these to the peacock's back. Now, this this is what we're gonna do. Just make sure you're getting this. Lines. Like that. So they sort of look like the feather. Continue in the same way for all of them. Go slowly. There's no hurry to go as fast as I'm going. Try and do it very carefully and very slowly when you're doing it for the first time. I understand that this could be something new for most of you. So, you know, the very thin, fine lines you want. You start a little short, and as you go higher, you then go a little longer and then go short again. What we can do is, see, we're done. Just like fill out these few spaces with a little line so it looks a lot fuller. And that's it. That's our peacock. What you can do is maybe draw a little line here so he looks like he's standing on ground. Hope you liked it. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you liked our video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.